If you're from the South, you know that the cornbread dressing is just as important as the turkey. And every family has their very own style of making it. Welcome to the Anthony Kitchen. I'm Kelly Anthony, and in this kitchen, we are all about using great recipes to bring you, your family, and your friends closer together. And let me tell you, nothing unites quite like this cornbread dressing. It features a mix of cornbread, fresh white bakery bread, a mix of celery, onions, and my secret weapon for taking cornbread dressing to the next level. So we're gonna get started by cutting into the bread. This is just a standard loaf of white bread. I go ahead and remove the crust. You really do wanna take the time to get that crust off because it doesn't mix in well with the other ingredients. You'll definitely be able to taste a textural difference if you leave it on there. So we're just gonna cut the bread into slices and then we're gonna cut it into dices. As you get it into cubes, just go ahead and plop it over in this bowl. This is actually a half batch in here of my Anthony Kitchen Company cornbread. That recipe is at the website. For the vegetables, you're gonna need 2 whole yellow onions and 4 sticks of celery. I'm just splitting my celery a few times lengthwise, and that just makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker to dice up. So then I bundle up all those strips and just make fine little dices here. Okay, and you'll just give it another once through with your knife. This used to be the task that my mom always gave me on Thanksgiving Day. So I should definitely be a professional at chopping the veggies for dressing at this point in my life. The first Thanksgiving that I ever attended with my husband's family, I was introduced to a different style of cornbread dressing. And this cornbread dressing was very wet and it had boiled eggs in it. And it was like no dressing I'd ever had before. I was so relieved when he came to my family's Thanksgiving and really enjoyed our style of cornbread dressing. What I did was I took the dressing that my mom and my grandma had used all my life and I just spruced it up a little bit with that fresh bakery bread and some secret ingredients that I have coming up for you next. Mission accomplished. That is all of the yellow onion going into the bowl. Now what we're gonna do is move it over to the stove top and in comes the butter. In goes 1 whole stick of butter. Just let that butter melt down. Don't let it burn or blacken. Now you're gonna add in the onions and that celery. Give it a good stir and just let this cook down till everything is good and softened. Once the onion starts to pick up a little bit of color and everybody's looking really good and soft, you can go ahead and kill the heat and it's time to finish assembling the dressing. Here we have my secret weapon for the greatest cornbread dressing of all time. It's fresh herbs. This is a really simple addition that makes a huge difference. Now, my mom and my grandma Campbell both used dry poultry seasoning in their dressing, but using a combination of fresh herbs like parsley, sage, and thyme really adds so much flavor to the dressing. So I'm just giving the parsley a rough chop. We're gonna need about 1/4 cup of fresh parsley. Now for the sage. Sage is such a beautiful herb, and what I like to do is save some of those little leaves to lay right on top of the dressing as it bakes, and it just adds an extra special, beautiful touch. Gonna need about 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped sage. I'm just getting some of these little leaves off of the thyme stems here. For the thyme, if you get a hold of a single stem, you can just pull the leaves backwards and it just falls right off. All right, that's probably good on the thyme. We're gonna give it a rough chop. So that's all the chopping, and now it's officially assembly time. All right, the last of the ingredients, let's bring this baby home. We're gonna have 3 large eggs. I'm gonna give them a head start in a separate little bowl here. Right into the bowl. Give it a whisk. All right, everybody in the bowl. All the veggies are going in, and so is the butter. Sprinkle in those herbs. Add in the chicken broth. This is 4 cups of unsalted chicken broth. And we just really want to get that bread good and soaked. 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Add in the egg, remove jewelry, and mix. Now you could totally use a spoon, but I just feel like it's so much easier to get in here and do it with your hands. All right, I'm gonna wash up. We're gonna add it to a 9 by 13 inch greased casserole dish, and then I'm gonna show you how to put those pretty little touches on the top. All right, into the casserole dish, and just smooth it over the top. Now what I'm gonna do is just break off these little tiny sage leaves, and I'm just gonna scatter them across the top of the casserole, and they'll sort of bake in there, and it's just an extra special touch, perfect for the holidays and entertaining. Pretty sure this is not only the yummiest cornbread dressing of all time, but it is definitely the most beautiful. We're just gonna pop this into a 350-degree oven covered for about 45 minutes. If you don't have a covered casserole dish, just cover it with aluminum foil, no problem. We'll pop it in the oven, and then after that 45 minutes is up, we're gonna take off the foil or take off the top and bake it for another 15 minutes to let it get nice and golden. Check this out. This cornbread dressing is absolutely beautiful, and it is a recipe that I promise you everybody at the holiday table can get down with. If you're on the hunt for more delicious holiday recipes to add to your potluck lineup, be sure to check out our sweet potato casserole next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button before you go, and I'll catch you next time.